Okay. Okay, Steve, let me get your view because it seems that the emergence of cryptocurrencies or what they call virtual commodities or digital currencies around the world has become so ubiquitous, at least in the last few years. And we've seen that regulators around the world have been grappling with how to regulate that market. What's your own view about what has happened, at least in the last few days, and it's still happening because we're seeing a lot of ripples around the country, especially on social media, around the directive to financial institutions?
Okay, thank you. For the one form of time, I think let me just say that the essence of the CBN coming up with the circular and the prohibition or ban is just the momentum, the cryptocurrency or the world of cryptocurrency is growing, and the
Okay.
surge of Nigerians' investment in this area as we stand, and is over $500 million Nigeria has taken in. If you take a count of countries that have invested in cryptocurrency or other currencies in the chain, in the blockchain industry, you find that Nigeria occupies the eighth or the 10th position. So this is a market, this is a sector that is growing every day. You still uninformed Nigerians moving into these sectors, trying to take some profit or trying to make some gain. And it has to do with the issues surrounding the ungoverned area of the cryptocurrency. It takes a market that is not regulated. It is a sector that is totally decentralized. You cannot lay hold of any CEO who is the owner of cryptocurrency or any man that is in charge of cryptocurrency. So how can you operate in such kind of environment? I have Nigerians voting millions of dollars where you cannot hold anybody accountable for. It's just like gambling. The speculative aspect Nigerians or the speculative aspect Nigerians have recently found themselves in. If you have to go into speculative market, like you have the lottery commission where people go to Naira Bet or this bet and do their daily betting, you find out that there is a commission regulating that, so that if anything happens, any technicality happens, you have where to fall in. Where do you fall in if anything happens untoward? So this is a challenge, and that is why CBN has to come out and reinstate their position. The CBN cannot ban it, CBN cannot control them, CBN cannot stop the activities of cryptocurrency traders. The only thing that the tools they use to have access to this very market, CBN is using its primary regulatory activities to curtail people moving funds into such a market that is ungoverned.
You know, I would appreciate if we can put some of the things we've put together on the screen, like what you're seeing right now on the screen. The Central Bank of Nigeria told financial institutions to close accounts that are tied to crypto exchanges. And as a result of that news, we saw that some crypto exchanges, such as, I don't want to mention names, but let me just mention names for the purpose of this interview.
The names are there, they are available.
Yes, Binance, some of them reacted to the news. In fact, some tech or fintech firms that are also involved in that within the Nigerian financial space sent messages even to their clients or customers over the last 2 days. In fact, some of those accounts have been attended to because of what the central bank has done. Crypto exchanges said definitely that they have suspended deposits into Nigeria. The central bank also went ahead to say that the announcement expanded on the 2017 guidelines, that it was in continuation with what they did or what they said in 2017. The Central Bank of Nigeria also says some cryptos are unregulated, unlicensed, and they facilitate illicit financial activities, terrorism financing, money laundering. In fact, there are reports, precisely I saw in this day, that reported, I don't know, Steve, if you saw that, that Nigeria, as well as the federal government, has been warned by the US FBI on fraud activities using cryptocurrencies to illegally siphon funds into the country. That some Nigerians use cryptocurrencies to illegally siphon funds. So if you take a look at what is also happening, just opposite with that, Nigeria is the world's second largest Bitcoin trading market in terms of volume, and I got that data from Passport. indicating that over $566 million traded so far. What do you have to say about this? Is there a middle ground for the central bank to come? Is there a middle ground for the central bank at this time to go out?
Honestly, just like,
go ahead.
Okay. I think the issue still revolves around regulation. With what CBN came up with, a kind of explanatory why they have to reinstate or why they have to place a ban or prohibition on activities of financing or facilitating financing in the cryptocurrency market. It still boils down to the same thing that have been happening. The truth remains that there are innocent Nigeria that does not understand the other aspects or the other segments or the other areas where most of these illicit activities are going on. But that is not the concern of Nigeria, and that is not the concern I have for now, because definitely, even in the conventional banking system, illicit funds are still going on. People are still funding terrorism through transfer to the commercial banks we have. But that's not a topic for today. We'll look at some other time. But the issue revolves around the unemployment ratio in Nigeria and the aspect that the troop of Nigerians, the number of Nigerians moving into this sector because they don't have any job. Some have $100,000, $1,000, $100, $200, whatever you have, you can play within this market and have some margin. So the concern is the moral aspect of it, which has to do a good number of Nigerians have gotten themselves involved in these activities, having some little earnings from, but you don't take away the aspect of the regulatory body stepping in to say, oh my boy, listen, if anything happens to this very system tomorrow, who do we account for? And the number of Nigerians, just like statistics.
Hold on, Steve. If you also take a look at it, since you're talking about don't throw away the baby with the bathwater, with the central bank telling financial institutions to close accounts tied to crypto exchanges, isn't it also part of regulation? Because if you take a look at it, the Central Bank of Nigeria regulates all the financial institutions in Nigeria. Cryptos are virtual commodities. They are digital assets. You know, it doesn't go through the conventional way, which we know about. The monetary authority doesn't have control like they do over conventional currencies that you can trace money. Yeah. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes. I think it still revolves around what we are talking about now. If you are throwing away the baby with the bathwater, and the issue that has to do with the morality or issue that has to do with what Nigerians have already got themselves involved, I would say there is no better time than now to take this decision, because if you still leave it, in the months to come, in the years to come, you still have more millions and more Nigerians involved in these activities. And if anything happens tomorrow, we've had a couple of opposite schemes that have come and gone. I'm not trying to say that crypto world or cryptocurrency market is a Ponzi, but where you cannot regulate activities of people, where you cannot find one rule or the other that governs this market, where if you have any infraction, just like you can have, because it has to do with fintech, you have technical things, you have issues with technical issues that perhaps if anything happens tomorrow with a fund, where will you complain? Who do you run to? Do you run to Central Bank of Nigeria, or do you run to Securities and Exchange Commission to lay your complaint that you deposited your money to this fellow and you couldn't find this this investment anymore? So this is where the central bank or the regulatory body has to step in. This is an ungoverned area. The world of cryptocurrency is totally decentralized. You cannot find a particular country to say this is the headquarter of cryptocurrency, or this is the headquarter of whatever blockchains you belong to, or where you can find a governing council, a governing board, where rules are set and reviewed. So this is where every reasonable government will always step in to forestall a possible hurt to the economy. Yes, it's our money. Yes, it's Nigerians' money. They decide what they do with their money. But government of Nigeria and Central Bank of Nigeria, I believe, will not sit back and see the same hard-earned money by Nigerians, see them moving it in areas they cannot secure it in the years to come.
Do you think that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? If the advantages outweigh the dark side? Because what the Monetary Authority is also saying, according to the statement, is that there's there's been found out that this is being used for terrorism finance. In fact, what we did is put on the screen earlier from the US FBI, we saw what happened, at least was it last year, the year prior to 2020, about some Nigerians that were tied to some kind of frivolent activities. And the US FBI still maintains that most of these illicit funds come in through the through cryptocurrencies because they cannot account, or they cannot trace it. Yeah.
Nancy, I would not like us to dwell in this area because it's going to hurt so many Nigerians. It's going to hurt so many people who are doing the genuine businesses, who are doing the genuine trading. Just like you have people playing in our capital.
Steve, just hold on. Where I'm going to, where I'm going to.
I wouldn't like us because I know for sure that are genuine Nigerians.
Yes, hold on, Steve. I'm going somewhere, and where I'm actually going is, even with the advantages and disadvantages, of course, for every system, there's a disadvantage and there is an advantage. Even the conventional monetary side, which we know, there's still a lot of illicit funds. People still steal, people are still corrupt through the banks. We know that. But where I'm going to is that with financial regulators worldwide speaking that there has to be regulation, the IMF, former IMF chief, now the ECB president, Christine Lagarde, as 2 years ago, I still heard her say that this market still needs regulation. You see people like other even billionaires across the world, like Warren Buffett, for example, saying that he cannot deal with this because he doesn't understand it yet. One can say, okay, he's old, he doesn't. There are new innovations coming up. But where do you see the essence of regulation? Can we continue this way, or should the Central Bank of Nigeria go in itself and study this thing and perhaps come up with other things that they need to do?
I think that should be the second leg of my advice or suggestion to the central body or the regulatory bodies in the world. Find a way. I think that is also what brought me about the first leg of what I may submit now, which has to do with the originators, those who develop this very world of cryptocurrencies, foresee this happening. That is why they totally decentralize it. Like I asked earlier before, can you find any headquarter or any building that you can say this is with a blockchain headquarters, or this is the blockchain zonal office or regional office? You cannot find such. They totally decentralize their operation. That is why countries or governments of the world are finding it difficult to regulate. And that is why they all...
Wow. Okay, seems that the connection has frozen there. I've been speaking with Steve Nwachukwu, who is the MD at Steward Asset Management. We've been talking about the announcement by the central bank on crypto exchanges restricting DMBs, that's or other financial institutions in Nigeria on it. All right, let's. Thank you for watching our video. Please hit the subscribe button below, turn on post notification to follow all our updates.